So, if you want to make money, the easiest way to do it is have the money that you already own make money for you. So once we get through the rest of our 3.2 lesson, our 3.3 lesson is literally all about how can I take my money, put it somewhere, and when I go to get it back, there's more of it, which is awesome. Yeah, that is called interest, which is, I have another picture that I sometimes put up that says, since this is about money, it should be of interest to you. So, Monica?
Isn't that what people do in a bank? Isn't that why people put money in a bank?
Depending, yeah.
Like, either to keep it there or because they just want to make more money?
Yeah, it depends on the type of account. Now, the problem right now is, and I'm going to preface our lesson with this, all of the percent values that I give you don't exist these days. Because of where the financial market is right now, investment percentages are very low. But what that also means is if you go to buy a house or buy a car, right, Mr. Cargiotis? You guys seem like you're having your own convo back there. If you go to buy a house or buy a car or anything like that, those interest rates are really low. So my buddy Dave just bought a house literally like 3 days ago. I was over there last night helping him rip up floors. His rate on his house... Their interest rate...
Where'd you get the flip chop?
I found it in my old stuff. So I'm starting to use it now to leave some things on that chalk. I'll probably start writing some things on that chalkboard on the side. I want to kind of shift some things around. Talk to your classmates. Some of them know it, but we're not talking about it right now. So, because interest rates are low right now, it's good if you're borrowing, bad if you're investing. So if you're investing money right now, you're not making very much money. Back when I was a kid, interest rates were higher, which was worse if you were buying a house, better if you were investing money. So the financial market fluctuates. But we got to finish up talking about 3.2. So if we have a real estate agent, anybody's parents here, real estate agents? Normally have at least one. Yeah.
My parents shoot real estate agents.
They shoot them? I doubt that they actually do, but that might be a joke that they say. I like my real estate agent.
Pew, pew.
Oh, I thought you meant like they really disliked them.
No.
Okay, so they take their headshots.
They work with HER.
Yeah, okay. So I always think that real estate agents, like, pictures look really cheesy because they look like politicians. They're like, buy a house for me. But that they take good pictures, so good work. Who? Yeah, so the point of being a real estate agent, the only way you make money is by selling houses. So, if you don't sell a house, what's anything times 0? 0. You make 0. But if I sell a house, I get 3%, or this real estate agent gets 3% of the house that they sold. So, let's calculate how much did the agent get. Who can walk me through setting this up, Moss?
Okay, so how I'm going to do this is, to find 3% of 345,000, I say that 3 over 100 is equal to x over 345,000.
Now, so I'll give it to you. This way always works. But because I have a number this large...
Just do that divided by 100.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, but I just like setting it up.
Okay, that's great. It always works. I'm not saying that it's a bad way. That just makes it a bit more complicated than what we need to do here. We can calculate our rates, and then we know that parts, and I'm also trying to get you guys to use these percent formulas is the other reason why I want to go this way. Part is your rate, or the decimal form of your percent, times your whole. So that's going to be 0.03 times the 345,000.
Isn't that even harder? No.
Depends on your brain. Because if you had to cross multiply and then divide...
You're not cross-multiplying.
Stop interrupting me, please. I love your energy. But you gotta let me get at least 10 words in so you can understand what I'm saying. Right? I don't interrupt you when you're talking because I respect you. When you do your process, I'm explaining why this isn't different. I'm reinforcing exactly what you said. If I have my part, my unknown, how much commission? Over how much the house sold for. The method you're taking, you'd cross multiply, then have to divide. The method I'm encouraging, we divide and then multiply. It's the same thing. It's like going north and then east versus going east and then north. You can get to the same place. You're just taking a different route. It's fine, but I'm encouraging understanding the percent application formulas because this work where we're headed is very similar to what I'm setting up, not very similar to the proportion. That's why I'm encouraging you to use the equations that I'm providing. Can you accept that both methods work? Because you're trying to argue for some reason that yours is better. There is no better. It's just different. So when I calculate this out, do you have my answer, Jeremiah?
Yeah, 1,055, and that's a lot of money.
That's not
A lot of money for a kid.
It's 10,000.
Ah, I think we have a decimal in the wrong place, maybe.
Oh, crap. Yeah, I'll put an extra zero after.
10,000, is it 350 then?
Yes. It's 10,350.
So guys, let's say it takes a real estate agent a month to sell a house. So they can sell a house every single month. And let's say maybe they take the winter off. They don't want to work around the holidays. So let's say they took off December and January. If they do this 10 times in a year, if we multiply by 10, we just shift our decimal, they'll make there's no and there, $103,000. I'll be very straightforward. I make a little bit over $40,000 a year. What I make is public knowledge. You could go Google it and find out what all we make. $100,000. But that's if they sell their houses. So it's a risk. And what?
If they're all that price.
Now that, depending on where you look, that's a standard price or a really high price. Like if I was looking at houses, I would not look at a house that costs that much. There's no way I could afford it. Like it's impossible. Yeah.
Wait, so could a real estate agent sell themselves a house and make like...
But so they would have to pay the money that would then pay themselves. So they'd be paying their own, like they wouldn't actually make any money. Because they'd be paying themselves, and when you pay yourself, you don't make anything. So yes, they could, but it doesn't really make any sense. You could avoid paying somebody else as you don't have to have a real estate agent. You could just buy a house on your own. But if you have an agent, or if the person selling the house has an agent, then the agent gets some of the money. But like when I bought my house, I did not pay extra because I had an agent. They just make money off the sale. They don't make money off me personally. Evie?
So my neighbors, they just moved, but they got their house, like their first house. They got it for $200,000, and like they ended up selling it for $600,000.
Yeah, depending on the market changing and things that they do. One more, we got to move on, Jeremiah.
Wait,
So we'll go two more. We'll come
a
back.
loan to buy a house, you can just take another loan and cancel off that loan.
But every time you take a loan, you have to pay back more.
What?
That's how a loan works. So, all right, Jeremiah. You need money, right? You ran out of lunch money. And I give you $20. And a year later, you come back and give me $20 back. Do you think that's fair? No, you had my money for a year. You owe me a little bit extra because I let you keep that money for so long. That's how the banks work. But we're trying to get there. I understand. I love how interested you guys are in this because it's money and it really does matter. One more.
And that's how the bank works, not how they get the money. But isn't that same situation like you buy your house for yourself if you're an agent? Isn't that like if you're a teacher and you pay the taxes, you pay for yourself, sort of, but you get the money back?
But so, and I forget exactly which taxes go to paying teachers. But so I live technically in a Columbus address. So my property taxes go to Columbus. So I'm paying Columbus teachers in a way. But yeah, if it's property taxes, I forget which taxes pay teachers.
And for value, like how they sell it for $400,000.
Yeah, more.
Too bad if you renovate and stuff and add stuff to your house.
Yeah, so since I moved in, according to Zillow, one of those house websites, their estimate on my house has gone up by about $40,000 to $50,000 now since I moved in. And most of that is because the stuff we did on the outside just made the house look a lot better. But what sucks about that is my taxes went up. Because if your property value goes up, your taxes go up.
Wait, so if you renovated or something, you actually have to pay more for what you already paid for?
While you still live there. Yep.
Wow.
We really got to move on at some point, Whitney.
Oh no, I just wanted to say that like that happened to my grandparents. Like their house was $200,000, and then like now it's worth $1 million because they're like out in the farm and they have. Like,
Yeah, it's probably the property too that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, and then they added like barns and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they're.
Sean?
So your price only goes up when you add stuff to the house?
Not necessarily. If the neighborhood itself, so all market prices, like things that aren't fixed, I can't even think of something that is a fixed price. Like gas is like a market price. It changes, right? Houses, their prices change. Food prices change depending on weather and supply and everything. So I could move into my house and do nothing, and the neighborhood might lose value. All houses in Ohio might lose value, and I'm going to lose money. I could also move into a neighborhood, do nothing to my house, and everything increases in value, which that's happened some as well since I bought my house. Houses are kind of coming back in the market price. So that happens on its own fluctuation, but then whatever you do or don't do also changes the value. And because the taxes that you pay are a percent of the total, when the total changes, that percent doesn't change, but the total changes. So if the total goes up, your part goes up. If the total goes down, your part goes down. And that percent never changes, which goes right to the formulas and everything that we're talking about. Julie, and then we're moving on. All right, so we're moving on. How much did the seller of the house make? So the seller puts their price for $345,000, but if they're smart, they realize they're not actually going to get all of that unless they sold it themselves. This seller did not sell it themselves. They used a real estate agent. They probably prepped the house and whatever else. So their agent, we already calculated, got $10,350. How do we find out how much the seller will actually receive? Ellie? Yeah, so take your total, subtract away what the agent made, and the seller will actually then receive $334,650. What is it? $650. And please get in the habit when we're working with money of putting a decimal point and 2 zeros just to be proper. That lets you know that it wasn't that you forgot to put any numbers there. It's that these numbers are, in fact, 0 cents. So please get in the habit of putting the decimal point and the 2 decimal values on your financial terms. If it deals with money, go to that hundredths decimal place. So try the Goddard on your own. You decide to go work at CarMax. Well, okay, that's not a real... I can't use that as a situation because I know how CarMax works. You wouldn't have a choice there. But let's say you go work at a car dealership. Are we okay back there? Gravity works? We're trying to get our pencil. So, would you prefer to make 6% commission on the cars you sell, or would you prefer $1,500 per car? This question doesn't have a right or wrong answer. This question is one of those analytical, back it up with evidence and reasoning. Sam? So say that a little bit louder. To make this decision, exactly what we were just talking about with the houses and the taxes and those things. It doesn't matter about the percent if we don't know what the whole is. So 6% of what? I don't know the value of the car. So to make this decision, I would need to know what price of cars I'm selling.
Well, like to make it easier, it could depend on the car dealership because like you can if you work at Buick or if you work at like a Ferrari dealership.
So let's
the
figure out
price is, like,
what price would make that breaking point. So let's say I want to make over $1,500 per car. Let's figure out what price of car would make me $1,500. So, do you know how to set us up, Don?
Oh, well, I mean, sort of. I use guess check and then revise. Yeah. I don't really do anything important. I just started with like $20,000 because that's sort of where I would think maybe
So,
a cheap car would be.
a lot of times guess check needs some mathematical skills. So I'm going to say you did apply some math skills, but we can apply some more fine-tuned math skills to save us time and make our life easier. My goal here. If I make $1,500, that will be my part. That part will be equal to 6% or 6/100ths of some unknown value. Let's say, sure, we can just say X. I was going to say V for value of the car, but it's really like what the car sells for. So, how do I get this X by itself? Who's there? Madison?
You want to get x by itself, so since the 0.06 and x is by multiplication, you have to divide on both sides by 0.06 to get x on its own.
Boom. Because of this multiplication, we divide. Guys, please write out this work. It's going to be very important as you start working through, especially the 3-3 homework. So the value of that car to make me $1,500 would be what? So $25,000. If I choose the percent payout, say it louder. I need car prices that are higher than $25,000. Otherwise, if my cars that I'm selling are cheaper than that, choose the $1,500. So that's when you would ask, well, what price of cars am I going to be selling? Am I selling used cars that are $10,000, $15,000? Am I selling new cars that are $30,000 or $40,000? That will make the difference. Jeremiah? Sure, but you got to back it up with why. Not necessarily. It depends on where you work. I'll let you guys say a lot of things, but I won't let you make like assumptions that aren't true. I agree with you. People want to save money. But people also want to have nice things. So that's like the trade-off when you look at when people buy stuff. Ozzy?
If I were to work at a Honda dealership, I would take the $1,500 per car. But if I were to work at a Porsche dealership,
Porsche.
I'll take the 6.
All right, let's try this again. We've got two options. I want you guys to figure this out. Let's analyze everything that we have. Taylor's got a new sales job. Option A, $7.15 every hour she works. Straightforward hourly pay. Option B, well, I guess, okay, things that relate to option A, how much does she work? 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I'm just setting this up. You guys are going to solve this. She thinks that she can probably sell $200 of clothing every day she's there. She's worked there before. She knows. And if she chooses option B for her payout, she'll make 18% of what she sells. Solely commission-based pay. In a week, if all of her assumptions are correct, how much she works, how much she sells, which payout option will pay her more? Take a moment. Compare this with your neighbors. If you have any disagreement, you must check your work and back it up with evidence. Write it out. Confer with each other. Check with your neighbors.
Is this a
Questions?
5-day week?
She's going to work 5 days during the week. So maybe she works Monday through Friday, has the weekend off.
Okay.
Can anybody talk me through? Actually, I'll go with my cards that I have. It's you, dude.
Oh, cool.
Jeremiah, how'd you work through option A?
For option A, so you make $7.15 every hour, and you're working 4 hours every day for 5 weeks. I mean, for 5 days a week. So that's $7.15 multiplied by 4 for the hours, and then you multiply the answer of that by 5 for the days you work, and you would get how much money you make in a week.
So I agree with what you did. I'm just going to set it up slightly differently.
Okay.
If I was working through this, and remember multiplication's commutative, so order doesn't matter, I would first analyze just how many hours. Just to chunk this out and make it easier. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, this would give me 20. And I would know I worked 20 hours in the week. Then we could multiply by the 750. It doesn't make a difference which way you do this. You find that she would make
$143 a week.
So this would be per week, not an hour. I keep hearing people try to do this. I've seen it on a few tests. As soon as you multiply by something, you're completely changing units. So this was dollars per hour. This was hours per day. This was days per week, which is why we end up with dollars per week. This is why we did the multiplication with fractions, canceling out units. We can write out all the work and justify this, but we've already done that. If you have questions, please come see me. Option B, Ozzy, you able to walk me through that?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
So you just you take you do 18 over 100, and then you cross multiply, and then you put 186 on the bottom of the other fraction.
So you put 186.
Yeah.
Where'd this come from?
Oh wait, not 186. That's the answer. You put the 715.
Where'd that come from?
The 7.
That's option A.
Oh wait. Crap. Did I do this?
Julian, what'd you do here? Did you start? Because you're back there not doing anything now. So if you haven't finished, you're either stuck or keep going, guys. I'm tired of this whole attitude like, well, I'll just sit here and wait and not try it on my own. There's a few of you that are taking a very passive, I will get pulled along. That's not going to work very well as we get deeper. Noah?
So you would do, so you have 318, so 5 times 200 is 5 days a week.
Ah, this per day, you gotta multiply that by 5. So 5 times 200, how much could she sell in a week? $1,000. So what do we do with that?
Times that by 0.18.
So we take our rate of commission times how much she sells, and we get.
$36. What? No, it's $180 a week.
I think you did that times 200. I think you gave me 36 before you did the times 5. So this should come out to be 180. If you got 36, you forgot that this was per day. And we need to calculate it for the week. She works 5 days a week. I believe that we can probably move on. The got it is exactly the same. Does anybody have questions on how we did this example?
I have a question on the got it above this.
Okay.
Is there any way for you to go back
Yeah.
to it?
This?
Yeah. You set it up with 1,500 equals 0.06 times x, and you divided both 1,500 0.06 by 0.6. Why would you do that?
So 0.06. I took 600ths divided by 600ths because this will cancel out and make 1. So these together cancel out and make a value of 1. So you with me there? Huh?
Why would that be helpful?
Because we want to solve for what 1x is worth. I don't want to know what 0.06, I don't want to know a 600ths of my unknown value. I don't know what is my unknown value, so I solve for 1x. This division is just because I have to do the same on both sides of my equation to keep it equal. If I don't do the same on both sides, it's no longer equal. Thank you for that question. Any questions on our got it, or our example that we just did? Anybody have grave opposition with us skipping the got it's? They're exactly the same problems. Like that we just do the same work 2 other times. So, moving into 3.3, like we said, guys, this is our accelerated 7 class. We gotta move quick.
Are you gonna sign the homework?
It's up. We did it this morning. It's up. Simple interest. And hopefully this does not get erased. I will try to have this kept here. I have your equation right here. Sorry if you can't see the purple as well, with the lights off, depending on your eyes. The interest that we make is based off 3 things. How much money did I start with? We call that value the principal. So on your notes, it would be beneficial if you put like starting money or initial investment. If you want to have a little bit fancier words here. Initial investment. An investment is when you put money into something. Initial is at the start. And it's an alliteration, so it's fun. And that is spelled the same way as Mr. Sherg. Principal, P-A-L, which is weird, but we had a big debate about this like a year or 2 ago. The other spelling of principle means like your principles, like what you believe in, like P-L-E at the end of there. But this one is spelled the same as the principal of the school. Principal. What? It's just the financial, which spelling they decided to go with. I've researched this. I've found that the P-A-L spelling is correct. Yeah, let's not argue words because I'm not the person to argue words. I'll argue math all day long, but I'm not a good person to argue words with. So, the 3 things it involves. How much money you start with. How much the bank will give you for your money or your interest rate. And then, how long you leave it with the bank. If I invest money and I come back tomorrow and I say, can I have all my money back? I will have made very, 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 very little amount of money. If I invest money and I come back 10 years later, I'll probably made a decent amount. Now again, right now interest rates are really low. You won't make very much. I'd actually probably encourage you to learn about the stock market if you're looking to invest in anything. The formula that we use to relate all 3 of those things, how much we start, how much the bank gives us, and how long we leave it there, is principal times rate times time. The rate, and this is why we introduced this word a couple days ago, is the percent, but in decimal form. So that's all you have to remember about rate, is it's exactly what we've been doing. It's the percent after we divide by 100. So in this situation, let's suppose that you've got an extra $400 sitting around that you would like to make a little bit of money with. You put it in a savings account. You leave it there for 6 years. You will have, in 6 years, you'll be in college. Oh my gosh. If you go to college, or you'll be out in some career field, or you'll be traveling Europe, who knows what you'll be doing. But in 6 years, you'll be graduated. Hopefully, if everything works out. Sean. You can, yeah, you can go. You would need a co-signer because you're so young. Most banks would make a parent or some other adult sign on your account. Depending on the bank, though, if you only set up an investment account, like only a savings account where you just put money into it, sometimes they'll let you open it on your own because you're not like borrowing money from them. You're just investing it. It's like just putting it in the piggy bank in a way. But then it can make you money. How what? All right, I knew we were going to get here. And I need to see if there's any good, like, little video explanations or anything. But do you know how the bank makes your money make money, Julian?
So basically, they give it out as loans, and then after the people that get loans keep the money for a while, they have to pay back more, and you get that money.
Let's play this out. I'm not getting loans. This is money that you guys have. So I'm the bank, right? So now I'm the bank. Whitney and Andrew have decided that they would like to invest some money. Andrew invests $20 with me. Whitney invests $20 with me. I give them both, let's say, 10% interest rates. I'm going to give them back some interest. But I can't just, so if I hold on to this money, I can't give them back more money. I'll lose money. So instead, I find some people that want loans. Oh, you want to go to college? Here you go. Here's some money. Oh, you want to buy a house? Here you go. Here's some money. So then, down the road, they're going to have to pay me back. But they don't have to pay me back necessarily before Andrew and Whitney want their money back. So I come over here to Jeremiah, who took a loan 5 years ago, and I say, Jeremiah, you owe me your loan back, and I take his loan. So he now paid me back more money than he initially gave me, and I can give Andrew more money than he initially gave me, and I keep a little bit for myself. And that is how the banks make their money, how the investors can make their money, and how the people who borrow get to use money that they don't yet have because it's not theirs. So now, when you guys finally owe me my money, you give me my money and extra, and you give me my money and extra. And the cycle continues on.
That's confusing.
So it's a huge manipulation of the fact that the bank doesn't actually have any of their own money. It's everybody else's money. Yeah.
So when you invest your money, they give it out as loans, and then as soon as you want it back, that's when they tell those people to.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that led to the Great Depression. If you research what really caused the collapse, J.P. Morgan Chase, like Chase Bank, essentially called in all their loans. They said, hey, people, we need you to pay us. And the people were like, I don't have to pay you yet. Like, when I got this loan, you told me I had longer. They said, yeah, we know. But there's people knocking at our door that want their money back that they invested with us, and we don't have the money to pay them, so I need you to pay me so I can pay them. And it was this whole like, well, they don't have the money to pay me, and I don't have the money to pay them, and now everyone's freaking out. And they're hiding money in their freezers and their mattresses and burying it in the backyard. I'm serious. Like, that's what my grandma started to do. Because they didn't trust banks anymore. Because if you go to the bank and say, hey, can I have my money back? And they're like, no, you can't today. Come back tomorrow, maybe we'll have it. I wouldn't trust the bank anymore. And this is where the FDIC came from. I know we're kind of getting way away from the lesson, but sometimes you guys are just interested in this. It works. Those are called teachable moments. The FDIC is the Federal Deposit Insurance Company. I think you can check that and find out that I'm wrong. But it has to deal with deposit insurance. When you put money in the bank, if the bank is FDIC like insured, your money is guaranteed to be there up to $100,000. So if I want to invest over $100,000, what do you think I do? Invest in two separate accounts, two separate banks. Just break up your money. Put your money in different places. So every bank, every credible bank should be FDIC insured. Your money will not disappear like it did back when the Great Depression started. And the money actually hadn't disappeared. It just wasn't at the bank available for them. So people freaked out.
So like that's how did it like crash?
Because then people didn't have money. Like if the bank doesn't have money to give me, I don't have money to spend. That person with the company, like, or that store down the street, if nobody has money to spend, that store is going to close down. When that store closes down, those people lose their jobs. They don't have money to spend. Like, do you see how it all just kind of cycles back around and goes down the drain? So that you guys can get a jump on your homework, because I can't take any more questions right at the moment. When we set these things up, what we have to analyze, and the first 4 questions of the homework are analyzing, do you know which part is which part? The principal is the amount that we invest. So in this situation, how much am I investing? Sam? 400. The rate is my percent as a decimal So I divide this by 100 and 0.05. And my time, this is the crucial piece, must be in years. It should say this on the notes. Yes, but I'm looking for somewhere on the notes. I thought it said has to be years. So I would put a reminder here, has to be years. So if it's not in years, how do you convert months to years? Divide by 12. How do you convert days to years? Divide by 365. How do you convert minutes to years? Like, you can convert anything to years. It's just how many of that is in a year. So then, I don't know my interest yet. We use the capital letter I. Do not use lowercase. That means something totally different. It's the imaginary number. It's actually the radical, or the square root of -1. So, when I do this multiplication, what do we get? 120. So now I can say I made $120 off of my 400 times 0.05 times 6. And actually, right here, we were supposed to fill in P, R, and T, but that's kind of lame, because I think you guys know how to abbreviate things. Any questions? This homework is set to be due Sunday night. So we'll finish this lesson tomorrow, and I think I bet some of you guys are going to go look at the homework and it's like, oh, okay, it's the same thing that we've been doing, just a different application of our percent work. Sean? What do you mean, certain amount?
Each year you'll get a certain amount of money.
Yeah, so if it's simple interest, once you calculate how much you make in 1 year, that's how much you'll make every single year.
Wait, doesn't interest rate fluctuate?
I just make my time 1, not if you get locked into an account. So if you get an account, you open an account and it has a fixed rate, your rate will never change. If it has an adjustable rate, it changes. So there's this term in like mortgages and home buying called an adjustable rate mortgage, an ARM, like an ARM. Most people say avoid those like the plague, because you could get a mortgage at 4% and you turn around 2 years later and you're paying 12% interest because it's adjustable rate. My mortgage, fixed rate, will never change. This is why you guys got to understand math. I'm trying to make your life better. All right, have a great day, guys.